well, that's pretty simple, clear cut.
And the blog post, if you read it, it's more of a general questions a mystery author needs to ask about writing a plot in a book where a woman plots to kill her husband.
There's so much evidence of it. I mean, you can definitely research it. You can look into how to kill your own husband. Also, if you don't know how to kind of do it instinctively, you shouldn't do it at all.
And the way the crime went down, so she had this idea. So what happens at Nancy Brophy, even though she does look like, she looks, and I mean this, if you've listened to side stories in the past, or last podcast in the past, I told the story about a woman that I used to work for when I was working at a LSAT editing company. It was LSAT, Instructional Book Editing Company, and the woman that sat behind me with the two broken hands, right, the woman was just like, would exclaim, and I had to open up the straws for her and feed her. This woman looks exactly like that. Right? So,
how did she break both of her hands?
She fell on the sidewalk, and she just got it, just to this day. But yes, it's a horrible woman. But Nancy Brophy looks just like her. Now, Nancy Brophy, she became absorbed into her own romance novel world because she wrote all of these books. Like, she wrote this thing called, The Wrong Blank series, The Wrong Husband, The Wrong Lover. And she wrote...
What you writing in there?
Nothing!
Okay.
But she wrote about getting railed for years, right? And so Nancy Brophy eventually realized, because she had this idea, like, I'm a fucking genius, and no one recognizes me for my genius. And she was complaining to this amongst other authors. If anybody's ever been to a writing, like a Twitter thread, you can see this person all the time, that they're just like, I am a genius that nobody knows, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like she was upset because her husband was getting all the attention because he makes amazing creme brulee. And she was like, what about me? And it's like, well, I'm sorry, ma'am. You're going to have to learn how to do something productive other than just write your little books by yourself that no one else is reading.
Well, she started living her own fantasy. She started doing this thing where
she should have. I mean,
Dan was really... He was such a simple, nice guy. All he wanted to do was cook for the neighborhood and teach people how to cook.
He's got a fun mustache that looks like crumbs belong in it.
Yes, he was a very sweet, local, hero. People really liked him. And she kind of got sick of this simple life. So what she did was, and she had total control over the finances. And now what you see in a lot of family annihilators is this concept of the money runs out, and what they have decided that is that, well, we can't deal with the embarrassment of me having run out of all of our money.
I mean, just don't tell anybody like everybody else.
Well, that's the idea. But he decides that our family, in the family annihilator case, a lot of times, is that the father decides, well, no one can deal with this embarrassment of me losing everybody's money, so I have to kill everybody.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense at all.
But Nancy Brophy decided, because her husband had nothing to do with the finances of their home, that she could do whatever she wanted with them. So she completely drained the retirement.
Great.
Buying jewelry, clothes, like this type of stuff.
Cleopatra.
Then she started taking out credit cards in his name and maxing them out, just absolutely destroying their whole financial
Well, he's got that chef money. He's doing just fine.
He was not doing great.
No, it doesn't sound like it, and I actually feel very bad for this man. Again, he just wanted to play with dough, and all of a sudden he ended up murdered. The woman, she said she talks about this a lot. And at some point, I mean, we all have dark conversations, and she kept on being like, how do you kill your husband? And then she said, it's easier to wish people dead than to actually kill them. And I think that means she was planning on getting a hitman or something like that.
Well, she said the problem with she does identify the problem with hitman is, again, like, how do you know whether or not they're a cop or not? How do you know? And so in the end, she knows that she has to do it on her own. So the way the crime went down is, like, after she ran out all their finances, she basically said to nobody in particular, to herself, okay, now that we're really in a bit of a pickle here, I can't put Dan through all of this stuff I've done to his finances. I can't do that to him. And basically, she also had this sort of, that she had a fantasy that she would go to Europe. She would be able to go this money. She's like, she can go and get railed with a guy with an accent.
But it's not happening. I mean, the thing is, the fantasy is not going to be, she's going to end up on a roadside, hammered off of Guinness, banging someone who's uglier than her now dead husband.
But that's
what's going to happen.
But when you're in Europe, that's romantic.
I guess
Because it's new dirt.
I suppose.
His accent makes him sound impressive. It's why they've taken over our entire acting structure.
Oh, that's completely true, and I know that's why you're so bitter. But she also was going to get a bunch of insurance money.
Yes, well,
so
that was
there's
the thing.
always that.
But all happened under, he had no clue. He had no clue that he had a policy for $800K put under his name. Had no clue that a policy for $1 million put under her name. So the morning that he was was shot, right? So the way it happened is he went in for he had a very routine life, which is again, I'm pointing to my Patreon listeners for all of you guys that fucking understand. This is why you need to switch up your schedule because you never know when someone's planning to kill you.
Zigzag.
You can't do the same thing every day. You got to mix it up. So
That's why having everyone says, "Oh, football players, they all die young." CTE wrestlers. But sometimes it's nice to have a little CTE. Don't know where you're going? Then no one can follow you either.
So,
That's
okay,
why.
I wanna go
I mean,
with
how
Zach.
many people have been saved by dementia?
I just want to say, number one, advocate for slave labor.
Did not
Ben
say that.
Kissel, and then also talking about the pluses of dementia.
The pluses of dementia
With
are:
Ben Kissel.
how do you stalk someone who doesn't know where they're going?
Absolutely. You can hide your own Easter eggs. And open it. So he broke in. He went to go work that day, same way he does it every day. She showed up. While he was working the dough, she shot him in the back, and then he turned around and she shot him in the head. What she did, she just went, I didn't know. So you can do this online.
What?
There's a whole world of make your own gun.
Yes, I do
parts.
know about that.
Good. And you can order them online. And I forget what it was called. It was called like gunconstruct.com or something like
okay.
that. But it's the most non-hidden URL in the world.
Well,
It's,
they
like,
have
it's
the term.
obvious.
They have the term ghost guns,
That's
and you
right.
can like 3D print your own gun.
She went to ghostgun.com and ordered pieces for this gun and replaced it, right? And then she shot. That's how she could then, because what she did was, 2 days after the murder, she called the cops, right? She's like,
Hey, I just want to ask a preliminary question. Am I the main suspect?
this is true. She's like,
Am I the main suspect of your investigation?
You are now.
Because if not, I'm trying to put in the paperwork. I need the death certificate so I can get that money.
Rachel wants to get the money real fast. And they're like, it's been 2 days. Your husband obviously has been shot dead by somebody who, you're trying to